Hello.
Okay. Hello. Welcome back. Why do I keep saying welcome back? It's not like anyone's keep watching.
They're like, this was relevant to me, or like, this is my boyfriend. Like,
Yeah, pretty much.
So maybe you just watched one and now this is your boyfriend.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a little more about Jimmy.
Jimmy the Gemini.
Gemini.
Okay, this is Gemini moon and third house moon.
Yes.
Biggest number one shout out is Molly. When she found out, she was like, that's why I'm a two-faced bitch, and sometimes I hate myself.
Number 2 shout out is Allison.
Oh yeah, totally. Oh, I've so have not thought about who's a Gemini moon, but I know a lot of people.
Number 3 is Laura.
Yes. Well, now we need to stop rating them as if it's like more important than the other. What's so funny is whenever I do these, I'd be like, Gemini moon's the one that I'm just gonna be rattling them off for, because I have so many, and now I'm like, beep, like.
My stage manager for Diverting Devotion,
Oh my God.
Brittany. It's a Gemini moon.
Honestly, I'm too lazy to think.
Nick Huguet. It's Gemini moon. Okay.
There's more of you. There's lots of you. Actually.
We'll probably think of you.
There's like
as
double
we start
of you
talking.
than the normal because
Yeah.
two-faced. Okay, where do we start? Air sign.
Air sign.
Such a mutable sign.
So mutable.
So mutable.
So mutable. And
It's the twins. Rules the hands, and it is. Oh, was that it? Oh, I said that. Shit.
Mercury. It's real.
Yes, thank you. Ruled by Mercury.
Yes.
As well. It's like the other side of Mercury because Virgo also rules Mercury. This is
So I
the
think
other
this
side.
it's like the day time ruling. I may be wrong though. I think it's
Mercury rules communication. In case you're wondering.
and it's the opposite of Sagittarius, so there's
Yes.
a lot of similarities and a few differences.
With Gemini moon, I think the number one thing is their mind is always going. It's like they're constantly hearing like like not like you're crazy when you hear voices, but like everybody hears voices. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's just like doubled up when it's a Gemini moon. I also find that Gemini moons have just like innate personable skills as well.
Yeah.
Like all air moons, I think, do to a certain extent, but Gemini moons like know how to play people, I think, or like play to people's emotions more. I know a lot of Gemini moons or Geminis in general that I worked with at Urban Outfitters because it's just like retail and they're just like good at selling to people, good at talking to people, and they were like, you're like friendly with everyone, and that kind of thing.
Another thing that's true about all air sign moons is that they intellectualize their emotions. So having your moon in having your moon in Gemini and having that tendency to intellectualize your emotions, plus it being ruled by Mercury, you're just overthinking them kind of all the time, like, oh my god, this happened and that happened and let me intellectualize how I feel about it.
But also it's like, because it's Gemini, you're gonna care so much about little things and do it to little things too. Like it's like even multiplied, I think, because Gemini is all about the small things, and like also Gemini moons are gonna, it's like you know a lot of, or you know a little bit about a lot. Like I see this a lot in, well, like everybody, but because Molly I know so well. When I found out she had a Gemini moon, I'm like, that makes so much sense because so much of like our time in high school, I was like, how does she know like one key sentence about anything I'd bring up? Like it's like you could bring up any random ass shit and she'd be like, I know this one thing, or I had this one experience, and I'm just like, but then if you like ask her to elaborate, she's like, I don't know, but I know this one thing.
Oh my god.
Not saying that she's like stupid and doesn't, because there is things that she knows like everything about, but I'm just saying like things that might have nothing to do with you, like you're some reason know a sentence about. Also, you're like weirdly know what's going on with social media and like what's going on in the world.
Because you care.
Yeah.
It's just something you care about. You care about like so many things and you just want to know a lot about
But
so
I
many
feel
things.
like even if they don't necessarily care about pop culture, they do. Like they just, even if they like only care about it so that they can make fun of it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like almost still a thing.
So Gemini suns have this like reputation for being annoying as fuck. And Gemini moons, I think, is different because it's your inner self. So you might be a little annoying to yourself.
That's what Molly always says. She's like, sometimes it's like, she's like, that's why I hate myself so much, but also I think I'm great. Like, that's why, like, I feel like this like inner, like, how do I feel about myself?
Yeah, because you're just so in your own face.
Yeah, she's like, I'm constantly roasting myself. I thought you were gonna continue with that.
That's all I have.
Oh, I like purposefully stopped talking because I was like, oh, she has more to say.
No, you're a lot to handle, but because it's like your moon, it's on the inside, so you are the most bothered by yourself. Not saying that Gemini suns are like the most annoying thing in the world.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a myth.
Yeah, but it's just, yeah, it's pretty much a myth. People are always like, Geminis. Like, Geminis are like the wild card of the zodiac.
To me, like, in reality, like, there's shitty parts about every sign, and every sign I can hate them for you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just for some reason, it's just like, I don't know, maybe it's like Geminis are so much input to pop culture that like there's so much on social media that they're just like...
true. And they're roasting themselves.
Yeah. Like they're more in your face about the fact that, about it and stuff. Yeah. So they're like, fucking Geminis. And around like, everybody sucks and everybody has great things too.
True.
I don't know. Oh yeah, you're such a mutable sign, as in if you watch any of our videos, just kind of like, woo, go with the flow, now I'm gonna change my mind, now I feel like this, now I feel like that, now I'm this, now I'm that, blah, 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 blah.
You'd say that maybe Gemini moons talk with their hands a bit.
I think Gemini moon is a more extroverted position, definitely. And also all air moons have a way of like hiding their emotions to some extent, or maybe feeling like...
Cutting them off a bit.
Cutting them off, or like a guilt behind it, or... something like along those lines.
Let's get on into third house moons. So the third house is the house of siblings and neighborhoods and lower education, or like kindergarten through high school, basically. So there's a heavy emphasis on the learning part. So you probably, like a Gemini moon, like to learn a lot about a lot of different things, but it's a bit more scholastic maybe than a Gemini moon, like maybe not so much pop culture-y, and more like, oh, I want to learn a little bit about the Romans and a little bit about the Greeks and a little bit about acids, bases, and salts and chemistry. And you know, maybe there's like an emotional attachment to learning and wanting to learn, or that's just a little personal happiness to you because the moon is like your innermost layer, so it's just a personal little pleasure of yours to learn or cozy up to a book.
Something that it's kind of going backwards, but I just thought about is Gemini moon moms. Because I find a lot of air moms, but especially Gemini moon moms, are almost more of either like a party mom, or like as in like they're okay with parties, or there's kind of like more eccentric, or more like, oh my god, also you can never get a hold of your mom. Your mom's always doing a billion things, and so are you. You're like, if you're like have a free day, you don't have a free day because 5 other people are asking you if you could do something. And your mom is like airy, so she's kind of like maybe a little bit detached from you, or maybe she is just too busy doing all of her random things that a Gemini moon would do, or Gemini mom would do. And she's probably gonna be like, I don't know, I just find air moms are more open to being like, we can have the party at our house, or like more cool, or something like that.
Not the most like nurturing necessarily.
But like the kind of mom that you would like post of things that she says on Twitter because it's funny.
Yeah, or like a friend.
Yeah.
Like the Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, like your mom's more of a friend. I don't know what that is. But your mom's, I don't have a Gemini moon, I don't know what pop culture is. Your mom's more of a friend than a mom. Is a big thing that I saw. Or maybe a younger mom.
Maybe.
I find a lot with Gemini moons is the moms are younger, and so they're more like friends than mothers.
I have a funny story to tell that has to do with my mom and Allison's mom, because I have a Sagittarius moon and Allison has a Gemini moon. So we were at Cafe Gratitude, and if you don't know, Cafe Gratitude is a vegan cafe in LA, and they super LA. So they give you a question every day, and we happened to be there the same day, and the question of the day was, what in your life is growing? Oh, and we were both there with our moms. And my mom said, oh, my small business hopefully is growing, and Allison's mom said, my ass! So that's just a little snippet
Sagittarius moon mother versus Gemini moon mother.
Yeah.
Maybe if a third house moon, because it also represents your mom, maybe your mom was like big into like lower education, or...
Yeah, maybe she was a teacher, maybe she was like that also could point to like more of a friend than a mom because, you know, it's all about neighborhoods. Maybe she was a big part of your neighborhood community.
Yeah, maybe you're emotionally very invested in your neighborhood. Maybe you knew your neighbors, or you have always cared about it. Gemini moon leads to a need of community or a sense of community.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna love your little community and be emotionally attached to it. Like a lot of Gemini moons that I worked with at Urban Outfitters, they always knew what was going on with everyone. They always made sure everybody else knew what was going on with them, or like they just kind of, or the people that were more prominent because they're Gemini moons, they like their little community, or like people at ADA, the outer school,
Yeah.
like they were always knowing what's going on, very social with them, you know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Student council.
Yeah,
acapella group.
could totally see
Yeah.
you like joining little clubs, little groups. You could be the student president or something because you like of your little community, or you could run a club, or like let's say you're in, you know, like into books, you could make a book club and
Yeah.
or be really into your book, like just
Yeah,
little
you'd be
community
like,
things.
you'd be the basketball coach for your old middle school.
Yeah, get your like,
once you're old. Like,
yeah.
oh, my community,
Yeah.
gotta give back to them. I'm emotionally invested.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun placement. I tend to get along really well with Gemini moons. Yeah, I think that sums up what I have to say.
Me too. It was just a little bit for you to know about Gemini moons. You can collect a little bit about all of our other videos if you want. Shameless self-promotion.
I just like crashed at this very second.
Oh, no.
Now I'm just like,
You want some tea? Just kidding. It's herbal and calm.
bye.
Bye.